That guy had charged people just over 1,000 rand before he closed down his signals. Imagine you have to pay 1,100 and you have to fund your account
To lose that
and then
money.
you lose both of that money again. Now if you think that's bad, think of it as using your lost money, thinking that you might have told your girlfriend, hey, our lives are going to change, we're going to follow Motubi or Lesiba or DJ Coats or wherever the fuck there is. I'm sorry. But like that, I can make 100, 200, 300, 400,000. But I would not be able to sleep at night knowing that I've taken something from someone that they worked hard for, deliberately knowing that I would not be able to accommodate the expectation that they might have set, knowing that I have maybe provided them with misleading information. And that is what separates people like us and these guys. They just do not give a shit.
Hey guys, welcome back to another podcast with 2Gs and Co. in the beautiful Mother City with myself, Chris Marketbull, and my co-host Keegan Van Dijk.
What's up, Chad?
And today, as promised, we basically traveled all the way to Cape Town for one of the, let's call it the main guests that we wanted to have on, and the man, the myth, the legend himself. You guys have seen him on YouTube. Most probably starting to become one of the most hated content creators. But in the house today, we've got Mr. Rolio Jack. So, Rolio, welcome to the podcast, my brother.
Hi, thank you. Welcome.
There's a lot of cameras to look at here, but Rolio, firstly, I want to thank you for joining us here today. You've said multiple times previously you're a very private guy. You go about your business. Yeah. You're not somebody that's flashing lifestyle that's all over the place. You're very, I almost want to say, targeted in what you do. And I think we're going to kick off. We actually had you on stream a while back, and unfortunately time caught up with us, and I still said I enjoyed it because the thing was myself and Keegan had a different view of you, because on your videos you're actually very low-key.
Calm and
yeah, very calm, and I thought like this guy is very calm and like you won't hurt to fly. But when we started chatting a little bit about what you do, and in terms of trying to clean up the industry, we started to see that passion. And afterwards I still told Keegan, I said, Flip, Rolio is really passionate about what he's doing. And it's not just a by the way thing. There's real feel behind what you do. And that's the reason we said, look, we want to either do a follow-up Zoom call, or the best thing would be to have you sitting here. But I think for the viewers, a lot of guys, even myself, I've been watching your content for a long time, and I want to start with you, and this is the beauty of the podcast. We're gonna start off with who's Rolio Jack. Tell us a little bit about the upbringing, and then we're gonna go into the latter stages of your life.
Okay, cool. So hi everybody. Firstly, I want to say thank you for you guys for having me here today. It's an honor to sit here today amongst you guys as well, because I do love the content that you guys bring to the community as well. So I'm a big fan of providing free educational content, and I think you guys are doing a phenomenal job taking up your time doing that every day. And you guys are very committed to what you do as well. So a little bit about myself, okay? So I grew up in Elsies. I don't know if you guys know Elsies, right? I grew up in Elsies and been through primary school, high school, and then I think I started working in 2013, just to fast forward. And that's the same time I started getting into trading as well in 2013, back in the days when the only strategy that you could see was Bollinger Bands, and we have to buy when the lower Bollinger Band touches the candle, and all of that stuff. So I've been into trading ever since then. I got introduced by a gentleman who I gave a lift home from work. He was busy on IQ options. He told me that he just made $10 now for the past minute that we drove. And I was like, wait, what? $10? Just for the time that we drove? And he was like, yeah. And I got home, I did some research on IQ options, and I was very intrigued. I've always been very invested in, analyzing data at work. I used to also analyze a lot of reports at work as well for the higher ups, report on the work that we would do on the previous day. And because of that, I love looking at data. So yeah, that's it. I really don't have much to say about myself. I think I've had a good life, had a bad life, and now I've got a good life again. So I think I've been through the dips, and I'm here today, and I'm trying to give back to the not just not just the average consumer, but also to any new person that wants to step into this space, which is why I've decided to pivot the content that I create to bring to shed some light on what's going on in the industry as well, because I do feel a lot of people are either misled or they are making choices blindly without having enough information to be able to make a better decision. So I just bring that information to the public, and they can then make a decision from there whether or not this is something that they would like to invest their hard-earned money into, because that is what we do in general. Because a lot of people take their salaries and they join a signal group or they join a mentorship, and I think it's sad what's going on. So I'm just trying to spread some awareness. And
so you've been trading. How many years have you been in the space, in the trading space?
Just over 10 years.
Okay, so that's a long time.
Yes.
We talked about it in the live stream as well, guys, and I'm actually going to post a link in the description of this video as well. You talked about that downslope, and we the previous guest we had on, we said it's all great talking about the successes and all the beautiful things, but you also mentioned there was a time where your trading actually took you into debt. Into debt. It took you to a place where you are almost in depression. You feel like, flip, how am I going to get out of this? Is there not an easier way?
Yeah.
And I think we're not going to dwell too much on it, but you've been in, let's call it, the valley. What mindset shift did you need to make to tell yourself, like, listen, I need to get my shit together to get out of this. I got myself into this, even though there's a lot of factors that basically pivot into how you got there. But that mindset shift to say, like, okay, I'm taking stock of where I am. This is my current situation. How do I get out of this?
Okay, so the one thing about myself is that I've always depended on myself physically now, right? So I don't have people to go to. So I don't have this guy that you can pick up on the phone and say, yo, I've got a problem, can you? So I don't have that. So I basically had to figure this out by myself. I think my biggest downfall, and I've seen some of the stuff that I went through with people on my YouTube as well, I showed them receipts of how I had to sell everything that was in my flat that I lived in at that time. And when I moved in with my sister, I was living on the couch. I was at a point where you go from having everything at one point, making some very bad decisions, which is also why I have provided this content, right? Making some very bad decisions due to being misled. And then you find yourself in a situation where you go, okay, how do I get out of this now? So I was consumed with a lot of debt. Like, I'm not going to lie. I was knee deep in debt. I filed for debt review because I couldn't pay the debt with the salary that I had, right? And what I did was I had a spreadsheet where I basically wrote down all the debt, and I said to myself, I'm going to work as hard as I can to start with the small debt and then work my way through. And that time for me made me realize actually how many people there is that you can actually depend on. People at work used to look at me and go like, yo, this guy. And that's the time I had the 86 as well. So I'm driving an 86, but I can barely afford to buy a cigarette. And that's the time I used to smoke still. So I quit smoking when I left the job. A lot of people was looking at me and go like, yo, look at this guy. He looks like he's a successful guy.
Got his shit together.
Yeah. But meanwhile, I was eating noodles and bread every day for lunch, supper. And I was looking for cigarettes, to smoke, see where I can get a cigarette to smoke. Like I said, I used to sleep on the couch, and you can't even sleep late because it's someone else's space, right? And that comes from bad decision. I would say bad decision making, but also being misled by a lot of people that you'll find on social media also. And that is why, again, I always come back to this. I say that a lot of people don't understand that side of the story, which is why I'm bringing this content. Because if you could see the kind of DMs I get from people who is about to lose their house, for instance, it says, I need some help. Yo, thank you so much for helping me. I was about to sign up to this, guys. Or I've lost so much money with this guy. You'll understand why you would not want the next person to go down that road as well. So I have made a commitment to myself back then when I was going through that stage of my life. I said that one day, if the Lord gives me a platform where I'm able to educate other people, I'm going to do it. And as my life started changing, I got out there, got in a place, and I started meeting. I met some content creators like Rolio, and then I started to see, okay, but the industry has never changed since the last time I was in there with the misleading information. And I said, you know what, I'm going to spend some time to grow the channel first. And then once the channel gets to at least 10,000 subscribers, I'm going to start pivoting the content that I create. And I'm going to dedicate it to everything that I had to go through because of poor decision making. And if I could stop the next person from making that decision as well, then that is exactly what I'm going to do, because I don't make any money from this. I spend a lot of money doing it. I spend just over 1,000 Rand for every video that you see me make. And I make videos almost every day. So I do spend a lot of money on it, but I do believe that this is my way of of wanting people not to go, because I can tell you today, Chris, and you know it's a different space where you go from having a nice car, you can buy whatever you want to, and then all of a sudden all of this is just now gone. And you ask yourself, and then you try to reach out to the people who is part of the problem, and they go like, okay, no, but and then they just completely ignore you. So for me, that's the purpose of why I provide this content. And people don't like it. The people whose content it is that I'm creating don't like it, but I also don't like it. So they don't like what I do, I don't like what they do. So we're going to sit with that problem
until it's fixed.
Until they fix it. So
just a quick one. In terms of work, what work did you do before you pivoted into trading?
I was in finance.
Okay.
So I was in finance, and I'm not going to speak too much about my regularity exam that I completed at that time in terms of the FSCA. So I'm not going to speak about that because the last time I spoke about that with Rolio, I think people misinterpreted the information. So but I was in finance for that duration that I was working. Yeah, so that's it.
Financial advisor.
Yes.
But again, I think it's so important having someone like Rolio that's doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I think the problem is these guys are so just focused on money.
Yes.
They just seeing that right there and then someone's paying me for a signal group. But they're not seeing further that when these guys are coming, they come in there desperate because, like you say, this might be their last 2,000 Rand, 1,000 Rand they need, because if they don't, they're on the streets.
Yeah.
And they don't see the damage these poor signal groups are doing to people.
Yeah, it's true. I'm sorry. But just to go on what you were saying there, right? And that is the part that frustrates me the most, right? Is the fact that, that we all want to become successful in trading, right? You can see that there's a lot of people who's got a lot of followers. All of these followers, they got one thing in mind. They go like, we want to become successful traders. And because of that, these guys, they use it as bait to better their own life, to make more money for themselves. Because I can guarantee you now, as I'm sitting here, right, there's probably a lot of these guys who has no risk associated to what they are doing.
Yeah,
most
100%.
of them are not even trading a real account because they don't have to risk anything because they are making money.
Yeah.
But from a consumer's perspective, you think of it in this way, right? A signal group as useless as Lesiba Motupis are, right? Or Motupi, I don't know. That guy had charged people, just over 1,000 Rand before he closed down his signals. Imagine you have to pay 1,100 and you have to fund your account
to lose that money.
And then you lose both of that money again. Now, if you think that's bad, think of it as using your lost money, thinking that you might have told your girlfriend, hey, our lives are going to change. We're going to follow Motubi or Lesiba or DJ Codes or wherever the fuck there is. I'm sorry, but like that, and things don't work out like that. You still make the money. The signal provider, he still makes the money. The consumer gets nothing.
He's paying the price.
Yes, you go back into debt. Now the question is, this is the main question. If you have a problem as a small-time consumer, and you're just one person in that group, if you have a problem, who are you going to talk to and say, can you please tell other people not to do this? There's nobody. Nobody's going to come and say, so I become the voice of the people to say that. That is why a lot of people have come forward to me and say, there's a signal group. This guy promised me a return. The one with the masked magician. That guy, someone came to me and said, look, I've been in this guy's group, and I have to say, my friend, if I play you that voice note that guy sent to me about this gentleman in particular, you would probably, it would maybe upset you, but this is the kind of bullshit that people are being sold to by these influencers. And they don't carry that risk, the same risk that the consumer does.
I think now is a good time to jump into this topic, and the masked magician Rolio is referring to is mad charts. And I think just to set the scene now, guys, we first going to set the scene and then we're going to chat about it. So I don't know if you know that mad charts his real name, guys, is Mario Nel. Go and check the FSCA's legal body had an enforcement matter against him. So I'm just going to paint a picture for you guys because I don't think previously it was painted for you guys. So Mario Nel traded other people's money, blew it up. This is fact. This is not fiction. He got the enforcement matter against him from the FSCA. He then had Bubesi traders that he also closed down after the FSCA enforcement matter. And then after that, one day I was sitting and on YouTube pops up this podcast, Chart Addicts, with this guy in a mask. And I was like, what am I looking at? And I played it, and I've known Mario before. I've spoken to him before the entire masking. And when I heard the voice, I clicked, listen here. I put 2 and 2 together. And here's my thing, the mask is to hide from his past because he had the FSCA matter against him. And again, this is fact. This gentleman paid money, $200 a day, factual things, Chad. I'm telling you, to take my account down for exposing him. After I posted a post about mad charts, he would then reply from his private account to me. Again, this is the type of brain power we're working with here. Replied from his personal account, actually admitting, that is admittance that you are the person I'm referring to. And then secondly, none of the cars he's posted, again, fact, the Ferrari is not owned by him. He paid for that to be a photo shoot. The Urus is not owned. That is also paid. We can show you guys if you want to rent that Ferrari. I think
send you the price and the receipts for it right now.
Yeah, we'll send. If you want to get the Urus, the photo shoot with the Urus and the Ferrari, we'll give you the contact details. There's a gentleman actually doing it for like photo shoots for rappers and musicians and all of that. So that's the first thing. Then also, again, he wasn't even on my radar. I knew it was him. I left it. It was out of my sight. Then one of his clients was in, this was last year, was in his lifetime signals group.
Yeah.
Then this gentleman came out and said, listen here, what time freedom is there for me if I have to sit in front of the charts every single day to send you a signal? That is not the time freedom I'm preaching, so I'm making this a discussion group.
Yeah.
For you members to give signals to each other.
So a discussion group. And when this friend of ours showed me this, and I said, listen here, there's no way. You cannot tell somebody. And people were paying, I think, 15,000 Rand. And if you go, the number, like he made millions with it. Now, after you've ate the people's money, now it's like, okay, I'm not going to give signals anymore. It's a discussion group.
Yeah.
And now this actually goes back to when I watched your video about it. Then this is where it comes back to a question you weren't sure about, where he was celebrating the relaunch of the signals group.
Yes. So that was a bit confusing because He stopped sending signals, I think, until the 26th of February.
Yeah, because it was closed.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden he says that I spoke to some I don't know who, and we're gonna reopen the signals. And I'm like, but are we not in the signals group already?
No.
And then he started with that signals again. Yeah.
Then to bring it back, we applied a lot of pressure to him. Then he was going to open up his own prop firm, which never got off the ground. Sahil, the Indian trader, also reached out to Q Banks and he said, dude, why do you associate yourself with a scammer?
And Q claimed he didn't know anything about it.
But yeah, Q Banks, for you as well, my brother in Christ, you need to watch yourself as well. But anyways, then I saw after you did your review, I see that Matt Charts is in the US meeting with Q Banks now to try and push top tier trader, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And after I made the post, basically putting your link into my story, maybe 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people came out and said, guys, please expose this guy. He's one of the biggest scammers flying under the radar.
Yeah.
And it was actually very well timed when you did your post about it, because, again, it's that thing of, I've said it before, thieves that want to rob behind a mask.
Yeah.
My 3-year-old son that plays with his mask. But somebody in a financial industry, you don't do business behind a mask. You don't start a prop firm wearing a mask.
Yeah.
That is like, Get out behind the mask,
my thing is, if you go somewhere, even if someone's this big CEO, you can still go Google it, find out who he is, what his name is, all of this. Whether you see him or anything, that's a different story. But you can see on paper who that guy is behind this.
But I think people think that is cool. I think people that would like to associate with this gentleman, they see it as being cool. Because remember, anything that's different gets people interested, right? You could be sitting in 20 signal groups and then the signal group number 21 says, I've got a 100% success rate. And all of a sudden you go, let me go there and see what happens there. It's like with trading strategies. If something looks good, like Q Banks, good example. He sells his courses for how much?
I don't know,
It's a lot
of money.
Exactly. So people's perception about that would be, there's probably a reason why it's that much. And then you come find out, but I could have just gotten the information from Chris Marketbull on the live for the content that you guys create as well. So that is why I say people see a mask guy like that, they think it's cool, but people like yourself who has got to deal with him personally will understand, okay, but this is the reason behind it. And like I said, I didn't know about this guy's existence, and I think that's why people say he flies so low under the radar, because I always, get information about people that's known out there until I saw this guy, and I thought to myself, who's this guy? And I tried to find out a photo of him with his face, and then everything is just him not. And I'm thinking to myself, why would you not want to show your face? Like, do you not want to associate yourself with a brand that you are, that you own? But yeah, the guy who sent me the signals, he was the guy who was just complaining. He was just complaining about this guy. He says the guy, and I was there to witness it firsthand as well, because I normally go view these guys' stories, not behind a user 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No. If you see my name, okay, this is for everybody who sells signals. If you see my name come up to one of the people who viewed your story, that means I'm probably going to review your signal next, right? So I go and I view these guys' profiles under my own under my own Instagram account, because I have nothing to hide, right?
Yeah.
And I went to go and view these guys' signals on that day that I did the review as well. And the stuff that he posts versus what is in the free group is not the same again. And this guy reached out to him, actually asked him, why do you only post winning trades and not losses? So I can actually show you guys if you want to put it up on the video. This guy actually confronted him to ask, hey, why do you only post winning trades and not winnings? Only winning trades and not losing ones. And he says, I actually forgot to post the losing trades.
I forgot.
Chris, I am telling you, I'll send you the screenshots if you want to bring it up for the people.
Chad, we're going to show it right here. Please check the next clip, and we're going to get straight back into it.
I'll send you guys that screenshots. That guy asked him, so he just said, and I actually, I kind of forgot about it. And I thought to myself, no, this is how this scam works. And I call it a scam because a scam
You're misleading. You're misleading. It's not the truth.
And it's a criminal offense because firstly they can be reported to the ASA, and they can also be reported to the. I don't want to say the FSCA because I don't have that much hope in the FSCA, but I think personally with the ASA you can report them for false advertising because that's what they do with the information that they provide to the public. But if you go to the General Code of Conduct in terms of the FSCA, the information that they provide is not true and correct, and it's also not enough information for the consumer to make a better decision. Because why? They'll post net blue screens. They only post blue screens.
Yeah.
How do you make a decision whether you want to join a signal group if all you see is a blue screen?
But my thing is, we've always spoke about this, especially these guys that trade CPI, NFP, and then even try to do it live and just nuke everyone's accounts. But my thing is, has no one ever thought past the fact they trade in demo? So what stops you from posting 2 demo accounts, blowing both of them, one's a buy, one's a sell, and then you just showing the one that's ever what got its profits? It's nothing stops you.
That is how they. So I called out Clint Fester many years ago.
Yeah.
And I started getting into a squabble. I've been blocked on all these platforms, but I said it's great that you post the one side. So you would do it. You would put say 20,000 rand in the one, 20 in the other, long the one, short the other one, and then at the end of the day, it's like, oh, kill Nasdaq, this, that, and we knew about it. And as soon as we confronted him, obviously got blocked, but. Again, it's that thing of how do we get to this stage? And I still remember, I think I told Keegan and the stream guys, before I started trading, none of the names you see now was on Instagram. It was like we struggled just to get education.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I don't know where it started from, this entire lifestyle selling, but we've gotten now to a stage that I almost want to say 95% of these influencers can't trade.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. Look, when I started getting into the game, the first person I saw was Clint in a house in Camps Bay. That's it. The problem with, and this is what I like to tell people, you need to ask more questions. That's it. Before you sign up to anything, ask more questions. Because people make decisions based off the life that they see people live on Instagram, and they think, but you know what? This is how this is how life works, right? These guys are so good. They have mastered the game of manipulation. They know exactly what they need to show an average person to get them to buy into what they want to sell. So I don't have to show you. If you look at DJ Coates, right? That guy has made over 600,000 selling 30 signals. 30. He has made over I want you to think about that. He has made over 600,000 selling only 30 signals.
But do you know how much he made with the 1 minute strategy years ago? You remember that?
Yes, I know about it, but I don't know, like how much he made. But it's crazy the amount of money these guys are making. Yeah. And you still get people wondering, oh, look at this guy, he's making money off FOREX, or he's making money off trading. When there is not sufficient information to back up the claims that they are making. If you look at John Gatti, he probably can't do a market breakdown. He probably don't know even, he wouldn't be able to determine market direction if you had to ask him, oh, can you show me how to use a Fibonacci? He's going to look at you and go like, but if you ask him how to promote or how to stand in front of a car,
give you a full course.
That guy will.
Listen, I have to give John Gatti credit for one line, and I almost fell off my chair. That was good for marketing when he, during C19, when he said we sanitizing poverty, and I was like, my goodness, and I was like, oh my goodness, that is brilliant, but the guy's an idiot.
But I think also the thing is the guys don't see past it. Again, like it's marketing, it's all these other things. I mean, again, we spoke about it. It was in one of the previous podcasts. It was off stream, but we said even the guys overseas now, for example, Lambo Rule.
Yeah.
Yes, there's a point you can say the guy can't trade, he can trade, whatever the case is. But I said, if you think he just bought 2 hypercars with trading money, then you're an idiot. I
Yeah,
said his
his dad-
family has a multi-billion-dollar property portfolio.
His dad
That's
is-
the money that's paying
Yeah,
for
he's,
those
he's
cars.
coming from old money.
So he's an entrepreneur, he's a businessman, and yes, maybe an income can be trading. But
But
again,
not-
like, don't think that's his main income that's paying the bills.
It's the same with FX Mamba, right? So he's a guy that I have on my radar that I'm probably going to review very soon. You know, his signals are just over 8,000 a month.
8,000
That's-
rand.
Yes. So just hear me out. That is for the S&P
Sure.
500, for the Nasdaq and the Dow Jones. You pay just over 8,000 per month for these signals, and then he divides it for you. You know, divide and conquer, and he says, okay, if you don't want everything, you can pay me just for the Nasdaq, and I think that's about 3,000, and just for the S&P 500 is about also about 945 or somewhere there. But I've subscribed to his the bot that he uses to update, and I'm constantly tracking that bot and the results that is being posted there. And you can see that even if the TP1 hits, even if it's not even a 1%, it will be a screenshot and he'll post it, and that bot will then report on it to say, yo, my VIP is eating. But if you look at the amount of money that guy makes with sales alone,
That's big.
you'll understand why. Chris, I tell you, I can also drive a Lamborghini or Ferrari if I wanted to tomorrow. I have a lot of people who believe in the work that I do. I can wake up tomorrow and say, guys, I'm selling signals, or I'm starting a mentorship, for instance, right? And I can mislead people as well. Everyone's going to go, yes, let's go to that guy. And tomorrow, I can make 100, 200, 300, 400,000. But I would not be able to sleep at night knowing that I've taken something from someone that they worked hard for, deliberately knowing that I would not be able to
Provide the
accommodate,
service.
yes, or accommodate the expectation that they might have set, knowing that I have maybe provided them with misleading information. And that is what separates people like us, everyone else who can trade, and these guys. They just do not give a shit. That's it.
I think we also need to make the point, because sometimes people think we against mentorship,
No.
or we are against certain elements. For instance, we are not against it.
Yeah.
My thing is, it's almost saying like we are against people selling cars. Like there's a place for everything. What we are trying to say is that if you are asking a certain price and you claim that, let's say for instance, if I go and buy a car and the salesman tells me there's a 2-liter engine here, it's a petrol, when you brake, this is what's going to happen, when you accelerate, this is going to happen, and then I buy the car and there's a 1,000cc engine in, I don't have brakes, all of this, then obviously I didn't get what I paid
Exactly.
for. And that is what we're trying to advocate, is to say like, listen here is my FX book for the last 6 months. You can see we basically had a 33% win rate. If you followed everything we did exactly to the T, you would have made 20%, whatever. That's transparency.
Yes, that I love.
But to go and say I've got a 90% win rate, and the guys buying the signals is like, dude, we didn't even see 10% win rate, and then you still, when you get cornered, then the first thing they usually tell the guys is like, I don't need your signal money, this or that. And I've got a following of 200,000 followers on Instagram. Why do you question me? But then it's the thing of, dude, you've taken my money. We've done a transaction. I need to get my service that I paid for.
Yeah.
So that is where it comes in, that we're not against it at all, guys.
But my thing's also in the sense of we're not against it. Now, again, this isn't pushing us. If there's other guys that do it, by all means. But if you want to charge for a service, you sure as hell can't be charging for something other guys can do for free.
Yeah.
Like, that's off the table.
I believe in mentorship, and I believe in signals. I think signals do accommodate people who's got a full-time job, who's not able to look at the charts. And I do believe that mentorship accommodates for people who wants to learn how to trade full-time. I have no problem with that. It's beautiful. I've done signals. I think I used to sell signals, I think just for 6 months, six or 5 months. I was very good at the signals that I provided. But for me, it was just too time consuming because I take it very serious. But for me, it was just too time consuming, and I decided, you know what, this is not for me. I didn't leave my job to work another full-time thing, you know, where you have to sit in front of the charts. But signals are good if you are good, if you can provide the service that you say you do. I think mentorship is good if you understand how to trade and your knowledge is worth sharing with the consumer. But then grades I know nice, but then you get people, sorry about that, but then you get people who know they can't trade.
They regurgitate
who
something
know
else.
they don't know anything about the markets, who know they can't make it by themselves in the market. Then they come and they say, I've got an 89% success rate, I've got this success rate, I've got that success rate. There's a photo I saw yesterday that I can show you. A guy is charging 50 Rand for lifetime signals. 50 Rand. I don't know whose life he measured there, his or mine, but 50 Rand for lifetime signals. You can already know the quality of what you're going to get there. But this is what these guys are doing, right?
Here's my thing. And I've spoken about it again. For instance, Clint Fester, when he started his courses, he was still a student of AstroFX. You can go and watch when Sean Leonaman was in SA. You'll see the first guy in the picture when they came into the restaurant was Clint and his wife. But here's my thing, and I want to say that to Clint as well. You don't have to start teaching while you are still learning. I don't know where this started in the industry, where you've traded for a year and now you open up a mentorship, you open up a course, you are still learning, my brother. For instance, when I went to go study, I studied for 4 years before I even went into a job. How do you think you can trade for 3 months, which is, trading is classified as most probably one of the most difficult industries in the world, and after a year, you think it's just as well. I was studying engineering, and after a year, I'm like, let me design that bridge. I'm ready now. You can't do that. So just for the guys out there, if you are an aspiring mentor, go through 3, 4, 5 years. Have some substance in you. The reason also when I started the streams was I was comfortable with it because I've already gone through everything. I already have substance. What I'm saying is backed up by years of struggling, of failing, of having success, failing again, and there comes a level of depth to that. But after a year, 2 years, and now you're a mentor, please.
It comes back to, I'm sorry, but it comes back to, I just want to say that before I forget it, right? Because I'm very, very forgetful. Because you know what happens when you get old. So it comes back to the fact that trading is difficult. We know it. From a psychological perspective, it is very difficult to trade. Now, why must you trade if you can make someone else believe you can trade and have them pay you to send them signals? And then, so that is how you see signal groups are born every day. People see that these guys are making easy money and signals are bad. Now they start doing it as well. I can sell signals. I don't have to trade because we know it. DJ Coates would never be able to make 600,000 off the market, right?
No.
But he can make it through selling the stuff which he has to do.
The only way that he'll get to 600,000 is if he starts with $1 million. He'll get it very quickly to 600,000.
Yeah, that's high risk.
But Rolio, there's a question. Like I want to go through it now. Obviously, I mean, you've gone through quite a few of these characters at this point in time. Is there one that you would always sit back and go like, I haven't come across anyone as bad as this one yet?
Yeah, I think the guy who takes the carrot for me is Lesiba Motupi. Because why? The reason why I say so is that I had high hopes, high expectations for this guy, right? Very, very high expectations. And I've done 3 reviews because I was like, maybe I'm wrong. Let me try again. 3 months worth of data.
Maybe I had a bad month.
Yes.
Yeah.
3 months worth of data. And if you look at the lifestyle these guys are portraying, him in particular, as you're gonna speak about him, you'll understand exactly where this money is coming from. Really, you'll see. But that for me, after 3 months, the first month I did, I was like, maybe it's gonna get better. Second month, maybe it's going to get better. Third month, nah, me bro. Now you're playing. Because why? The data was so bad that I reported on it 3 times. And then he decided, okay, he's not going to do signals anymore. Then he completely closed down the signals. Yeah, so he closed down the signals. But he's already made the money.
Yeah.
Now
It's actually sad that he closed the signals, because if you were smart, don't go and look for the best signals provider. Go look for the worst and do the opposite. Think about that. So if I knew earlier, I would have joined that group and I would have faded him and taken the opposite end of the of the trade. But that's something for you guys to think about.
Yeah, but I think, look, I'll tell you what the difficult thing about just doing the opposite of what these guys are doing is sometimes the market does U-turn after the liquidity has been taken. You know, I was like, where's the stop loss? There's 3,000 members, they're all buying. Let me just get there till where they are, and then it potentially goes in their direction. So I do think that just by looking at these guys' information, you can decide whether there's people out there who doesn't have the following, who doesn't have the subscribers, who doesn't have the money, who is capable of providing a much better job in signals and mentorship, as opposed to
But
what
they
these
don't,
guys are
they
doing.
don't sell the lifestyle.
But my thing is also coming back to this is, again, like when the guys are trading the CPI NFP events, this is what I always say is, you got to think in these people's shoes. Like, put yourself in their position. These guys want to trade and then be like, oh, there was a spike the opposite direction. we holding through it. We're going to hold through it. And I'm sitting there like, bro, you have to understand, the guys that are trading with you have literally put a 500, 1,000 rand in, which they're over leveraging. So they are not going to sit through a 400 pip spike to the opposite direction. They are out. Their account's blown.
You've got spreads that swell before I impact news. And the market will just slip you. That's it. You think everything happens so fast. It all happens so fast that you don't even have time to think about how you're going to feel if your account blows. So it's true what you're saying. There are people, these guys who provide, again, there's little to no risk associated to them, because maybe they're not trading a live account.
But we also spoke about it, Chris, where we spoke like, again, there might be the 1 or 2 that even do put that risk on the table and be like, I'm going to put 40K in. But they've charged 200 Rand. They've got 2,000 members that join that CPR. Whether he blows that amount he got, that 50K, he's made it and profit back with your fees.
And this is why people are doing this now. Like, you get an NFP signal, you can sign up for CPI signal, you can sign up for the Federal Reserve interest rate.
No matter what, it's a payday.
200 Rand, yeah. The thing is, I'm telling you, like you said, now they can put a disclaimer there to say trading involves high risk. Then someone like JT Chwa, that guy, he literally sends a fundamental signal and then adds an accuracy to it to say that it's got an 87% accurate. Where do you get the information from?
You need to be sitting in that Fed's meeting to know what they're going to put out.
Next to Jerome Powell to say that. Jerome Powell had to tell you, look, I'm not going to hike the rates. I'm going to pause it, or I'm going to drop it. For you to come out and make a percentage
of how accurate it is
on fundamental information is impossible to do.
I actually laughed when he reviewed Matt Charts' signals.
The NFP signal.
No. That period when gold was so bullish, he was constantly trying to sell it, and you could literally see every time it consolidated, it would try and sell, it would break. Consolidate, he would try and sell, it would break, and again, I just feel like at one stage, as somebody that's trying to provide signals, you have to be like, dude, I'm bad. Let me maybe just try and get better.
But you know, my thing is, this now goes back to basic trading. I mean, that's that guy that wants to get the sniper entry to catch that massive sell-off. But at the same time, the minute you get into trading, they all teach you the trend is your friend.
Yeah.
If that's bullish, why are you trying to sell it?
Maybe he missed baby pips.
It keeps selling until it eventually sells, so you can take a screenshot and put it on Instagram and say, me and my team, VIP's eating.
Yeah.
We killed gold and
chopped, killed, deep, all of these words that's associated with profits. Rolio, I want to come back a little bit more to the trading side. So for a lot of people, as much as they see you as the content creator, and you and yourself and Rydal actually provide a very good service to the community in keeping these guys in check. But I think what you've done now with actually reviewing the signals has gone that one step deeper, where it's now like there was always this facade that people didn't necessarily have the money to pay to see what's going on there. And now with what you're doing with Rydal in the back end, doing more like a higher level expose, and now with you actually pulling the curtains open, going through the front door, sitting in the living room, now all of a sudden it's like there's nowhere to hide.
Yeah.
But with that being said, obviously you are also a trader.
Yeah.
And I want to touch on it. Do you consider yourself more a technical trader or a fundamental trader?
So I've always been a bit of both, right? Not a bit of both, but I read, understand, and I can analyze fundamental information very good. And I use this as a guideline for when I do technical analysis. So for instance, if the fundamental, look, there's a saying, and I don't know if you guys agree with it or not, but in order to determine the strength of a country's economy or currency, you need to look at the economy. So I always look at the economy to determine whether the currency is going to be strong or not. So let's assume there's news event that comes through and that is supposed to put the index or the currency that I'm trading in a positive. So then the outlook that I'll have on the technical side would be a bullish outlook. So I would then follow simple price action and look for that buys in the market purely based off the fundamental information that I receive.
Hey, I like this. Rolio's my type of guy.
Yeah.
So that's how I look at the data. The thing is, my life depends on it. You understand? My life, I'm not gonna, guys. Like I don't mean it like this, but my life depends on it because that's my main source of income. You understand? I don't sell anything, so I can't say it's fine. You know, like I'm gonna, I'm gonna do this.
This is your
Which is why I take 1 or 2 trades, maybe 3 trades for the month. For this month, I've only taken 1 trade, which is the seller on GU. And I made some good money on it. So I'll probably trade again next month. So I'm not the kind of trader that a lot of people might find where you take maybe 5 or 6 trades for the week or 10 trades. I can't. I look for the highest probability setup, and I know you should always be reactive and not predictive and learn to adapt to the ever-changing markets. We know that, right? But I always look for these high probability setups and try to stay away from trading before news or getting in a week where there's a lot of news taking place as well. So that's kind of the way I trade.
Then I also want to jump. Everyone's always looking for a little golden nugget for something to drop. I heard you saying liquidity, all of that. Obviously, being in the industry for 10 years, you've most probably gone through the ICT route. You've gone through.
No.
Oh, not
no,
okay.
No, I've
SMC.
No, so I've never followed the smart money concept, and I have nothing against it. It's just that, as you guys know, with back in the days, we didn't have the SMC, and that's so I'm more like your father, not your father, but I'm more like, you see, the OGs of
trading.
So we have that way of trading. So we have the simplified way of trading, not the FX goat.
So you trade
like a carbon copy of me.
Not like part 1, part 2, part 3.
So you purely trade levels in the market.
Yeah, so I follow simple price action and then also follow the market structure. But in line with, I understand macroeconomics to a level, and also retail sentiment. I'll sometimes look at order flow. I don't bother with anymore because it's delayed information. But I always need to understand how the economy is doing of a certain currency that I want to trade before I get in there. You understand?
Yeah,
So
guys, I just want to add to that because literally, as I say, then our radio almost sounds like a carbon copy of me with my trading. But one thing we actually spoke about on our live streams is the approach I always have with this is technicals cannot influence fundamentals, but fundamentals can influence technicals.
Yeah, 100%.
So, Rolio, the next question I have is in terms of 3 trades a month. So
sometimes 1.
That's so you obviously a swing trader then.
Yes, yes, 100%.
And for instance, if you don't mind, and again, you don't have to share this with us, but your process of determining, I think let's start with determining your bias. Is that based off technicals, or is it based off the, let's call it the macroeconomic picture that's painted for you, or contextually?
Yeah, so it's highly, I would say if I have to divide it, I'd probably say I depend more on the macroeconomic or the fundamental information. Because I can always determine market direction through fundamental, but I cannot look at the chart and decide whether the NFP or the CPI data is going to be positive or negative. So I'd look at the data and I'll assess the information. I think I've done 100 videos on reading fundamental information on my YouTube as well, and how to simplify it. But that's for me is the important thing. I don't want to go into the market uncertain because I know that we're not always going to be right, but at least try to stack the probabilities.
Odds in your favor. And then your entry, obviously being a swing trader, what time frame do you enter? Is it like the 4 hour?
The 4 hour, yeah. So I do, I'm not sure if you've seen the breakdowns that I do on my YouTube. They're all done on the daily time frame, and I apply the same concept, but just on the 4 hour time frame. So
okay.
it is. And that's what I don't understand. Like people always ask me, "Hey, can't you teach me how to trade?" I'm like, I've put everything on YouTube already.
It's all there.
Everything that I know, the way I trade. I've even done a 4-part series on how I trade on YouTube as well. People still come at me, they give me like, "But how do you trade the way that you do?" And I go, "But I've put everything on there."
Guys, we're actually gonna put that video, I think top left or top right corner.
Yeah, there's a few of them.
Just go and check it out. Rolio is one of the guys that's putting out a lot of value. And before he started doing the signal reviews, he was actually providing a lot of educational content. So please go and check that out. I think coming more to the tail end of it, the life you live now, being, I don't want to say in the spotlight, but you've become a very hot topic all around South Africa and in the trading scene. What has it been like being on social media? Have you received some threats maybe from guys? Have you received some weird phone calls maybe? Tell us a little bit about that side, because the thing with, we always say no good deed goes unpunished. So there's obviously a price you pay, not just with money, but there's another price you pay in terms of the flack you get for it. So
look, so in terms of, I would say I'm not really a person that would go and say, "Oh, look at me, I'm like walk in the morning and go, 'Don't you know I am?'" Like I'm not that type of guy. But look, I do sometimes get like a good example. The first person that reached out to me was Nas 100X. He was the guy who said to me, "My people's gonna contact you," and I said, "For what? For what are your people going to contact me?" And then you'll always get that, if not just from them, but also from the people in the comment section who looks up to these people. They're like, "If I catch you, you're going to see what I do. And, if I must ever catch you, why are you talking about me like that?" All like that. But ek is bang van niemand, my bro. I'm not scared of anybody. Like I said to you, look, I've got a licensed firearm in my bag that I carry with. And I'm not saying I'm trigger happy. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying I'm going to just walk up to someone and shoot them. But I believe that you need to respect people on a public platform, because you never know who you're dealing with. And a lot of people who's giving out these threats, whether it's Nas 100X or Nasdaq Ninja, I said if I catch any of these guys in public and they would threaten me like that, I'll put some stuff in their knees. You understand? But I won't just go there and do it, because the purpose that I'm doing this for is not to badmouth any people. There's no beef. I'm not
just
trying to create.
It's an honest review.
I'm not trying to create beef. I'm not trying to show people, look at me. I want you to come and fight with me because no. It is a review. There's how many review channels on YouTube that you can go look at PlayStation games.
Like they get so upset, but I think end of the day it's that always thing of publicity. If you went and did a review and the signals were good, it's not like you're going to lie now. You're going to be like, this was really good.
Exactly. And all the information is right there for the consumer to see. It's not as if I'm coming on a public platform and go, "Guys, guess what? I just reviewed your signals with no information for the consumer to look at and say, guess what, it's very bad, don't go there. But I provide the public with all the information that I have experienced firsthand. If you don't believe it or like it, you can go and backtest the information for yourself, and you can decide whether or not you want to believe that this guy can trade or not. The problem is these guys cannot accept criticism from the public, but they want you to accept the criticism that they throw your way. Because a lot of people ask me about Dr. Martin or that these guys as well. They said
a lot of these guys I don't even know.
Yeah, so people were asking me when I did a review on them. There's one guy asked me, aren't you scared because they threatened Rydell? I said, I'm not Rydell. You can't compare me to Rydell. Rydell is, maybe like a family guy, and he's got his family to protect. I have nobody to protect, bro, but myself, obviously. And I'm not out there. I just want to make this clear. I'm not exposing anybody. I'm just reviewing the services. And it might come through as me being exposing these people, but you would never ever see someone like Elon Musk or PlayStation or Xbox go and comment on someone who reviewed a game or a controller that they purchased from Xbox.
And then threaten them.
Bad,
and Microsoft goes there and say, why are you talking bad about our controllers? No, it's a review. It's an honest opinion. And in every video that I make, I always tell people, let me know your thoughts about the information that you have been provided with below. I'm not going there saying, don't sign up to these signals. They are bad. Don't do it. It's bad. Don't sign up. These guys are not good. You just
do an honest review.
I just do a review, and I get the public to decide whether or not they want to. So just to come back to answer the question, I know I'm always going.
No.
But to answer the question there is that, yes, there's always people that's going to DM me and say, why did you do a review about me? And some of them might not come directly at me. They might talk about me in their groups, you see. But they're always going to have something to say about the work that I do. If it's not them, then it's the people who follow them and believe they can trade. And they'll go in the comment section and say, yo, you're going to see what we do if we catch you. And I say, what are you going to do? What exactly? And you know what the worst part is, right? I like to go and do research on these people because they can be a threat to you in public. Because they use these fake usernames, so you don't know what it is that you're dealing with. So I take the information and I go search, to do some research to go and see what you look like. Just in case I get you in the mall and I don't know. Yeah. Yo, my bro, Chris, it's mostly it's like kids, young people, a guy that I could literally smack from here all the way, but it's mostly kids. That is why I always say that I get threats in the comment section, but I will never respond to them because I don't know who that is. That could be a deadly gangster that have thousands of people that could potentially just come and hurt me. So I would rather say nothing, and I would be respectful towards that person.
Yeah.
You see, because you don't know. Respect goes a long way, I guess.
Rolio, I think what are the next steps? Obviously, you've embarked in this new journey of your content. What's the plans for the rest of the year in terms of your content, in terms of yourself? What do you have planned? What's going on with Mr. Jack?
Look, I don't have a life. Right? Not I don't have a life. I do have a life, but I don't have a social life, right? I spend a lot of time playing games, so I'm always at home. And if my girlfriend, she comes to me over weekends, and we'd go out. But I'm not a socialized person because I'm at home all the time. But I will be conducting some Q&As with the people whose signals I reviewed to hear their side of the story, only if they're willing to, and then from there, I was initially going to go into reviewing EAs, but they are too expensive for my pocket, so I would not be able to account for all the costs that. So I think the next step from here is also to get into bigger signal groups, right? Like, because currently the budget for a signal group is 500 Rand because I have to pay for the thumbnail and for the video to be cut into a sort. So the current cost per video, like I said, is just over 1,000
Rand.
So I'll probably increase the budget as I see fit, and then I could potentially join more groups. But a lot of people, they do charge a high price on the signals, so I'm not able to get into those groups. Like I said, so Yeah, as the budget grows, the signal groups will grow, and then definitely the Q&As with these guys, not the roasting Q&As, just like why
Just
are
to
you
open
lying?
up, yeah.
It was like a follow-up.
Yes, like what's your story, you know, and then hear what they have to say, and then hear what they have to say to the public. I mean, I've got the first video hopefully coming out by next week, I think, with Nasdaq Ninja, and I think a lot of people are. A lot of people had told me that that's the most anticipated video, and I said no, it's the GTA 6 trailer too. so that's that.
That's the plan where you.
Yeah, so that will kind of give me a gauge, because I like to gauge. I like to see the engagement. If the engagement is good, I'll continue to provide on that topic. If the interest on the topic's good, then I'll continue to provide the content on that topic as well. So that's kind of where I want to go.
Guys, I think this was an awesome chat. As I mentioned previously, we enjoyed while it was a guest on the live stream so much. But having you here in person, Rolio, firstly, I want to say thank you. As a fellow content creator, it's awesome what you're doing, and may your channel keep growing. And it's been growing very, very well, guys. Please check out Rolio Jack's YouTube channel. We're going to actually put the link in the description of this video, and you can see it coming across the screen right now. And Keeks, thanks so much for joining me here.
Always, brother. This was a good one.
Yeah, this was and we didn't ask the guest. The previous guest also had black on. This was not scripted. It's not the Men in Black. But guys, thanks so much for another beautiful podcast with 2Gs and Co. And our special guest, again, thanks so much to Rolio Jack. And Chad, we will see you on the next one. Hit that like button, subscribe if you have not done so. Join us live daily as we trade London session, New York session with myself, Keegan, and Jevon. And we will see you guys in the market. Peace and love, baby.
Peace, guys.
Cheers for the ears.